Well, hello and welcome to the channel, the Travelling Comic here. Travelling the world on luxury cruise ships and bringing you little videos of interest, I hope. I'm on this ship, Oceania Serena. We're docked here in Leith, and just over that shoulder there, well, those of you that can easily recognise it, that's the Royal Yacht Britannia. And so I've decided that what we'll do is we'll go and see, can we get on board the Royal Yacht? From one ship to a yacht. If that is something that you think you'd like to watch, well, keep watching. Just some little details while I'm heading there. 1954 to 1997, it was the yacht used by the royal family and beloved by Her Majesty, the late Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. It was built, I think it was John Brown was the shipyard. Check that up for yourself, because as you know, sometimes I'm light on information. If I thought about this one, I'd have looked it up and I'd have made some notes. But anyway, let's see if we can get on board the Royal Yacht. When I say we, I mean you and me. I'm getting a lot of flare back up here on the camera for some reason. I don't know why that is. Maybe it's time for a new phone. Now, I haven't got on board yet. I'm going to tell you, I know very little about this yacht. All I know is that inside it, this is from what I've read or from, I don't know where it's in my head, that inside it, it was very plain, the furniture, not opulent as you would expect in a royal palace. The Queen had her own bedroom, the Duke of Edinburgh had her own bedroom, and the first time that there was ever, as far as I know, the first time that there was ever a double bed brought onto the yacht was by Charles and Diana for their honeymoon, because they went off on their honeymoon on the yacht. So let's see what we can see. Listen, this is as much a journey of discovery for me as it is for you. I don't know how much it is to get in, but I'll pay it for you because you're worth it. So here we are. So, did you hear that? This is the bridge. Now, what I want to tell you about the bridge is that obviously this is where the officer of the watch, this is where the captain, or in fact referred to as the Admiral on this particular ship, this is where they gave all the instructions, decided what speed had to be done, what course had to be taken, but they didn't operate it from where I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you tubes that they talked down to the deck below, and it was down there that the boys turned the wheels and hit the accelerator, the gearbox, etc. So let's go in. You'll see the tubes are blue. Now, you will have noticed that in there was only one chair. And that is simply because the only person that was allowed to sit down was in fact the Admiral. Everyone else that was in there was expected to be on their feet, alert, ready for any eventuality. Let's go further. Well, now you can see in front of me is the ship's funnel. I'm going to tell you something about this funnel. There's a special gutter up around the top of it to stop rainwater discoloring the colour of the funnel. Also inside that funnel, there's a small multi-gym that the crew could use. And if you can see at the sides of it here, I point those little holes, that was the ship's horn. And the last time it sounded was 97 as it passed John Brown's shipyard here as it was coming to its final port here in Leith. It is three masts. The Royal Yacht has three masts, 1 and 2 in front of me, one behind me. At the very top of them, if I zoom in, you may be able to see the little gold decorative point. Beautiful, but that's also disguised because that is an aerial, a wireless aerial. Then this one, I'll zoom out again. Ooh. This is the one with all the ropes attached to it, and they would have put the flags on there to send messages to other ships, or if they're in difficulty, I suppose a distress signal, and there are the flags still in their cases. Let's go a little further. So what we're doing now is we're going to go into the Admiral's quarters. And being the Admiral, he obviously had the best cabin. Of course, I don't mean in comparison to the Royals, but as far as the crew on the ship is concerned, it is where he ate, he slept, he relaxed. If the Royals were on board, he always dined with the Royals. And if there was no Royals on board, he dined by himself. In the furniture that you will see is over 100 years old, as it came from the previous Royal Yacht. And the wardrobe that we'll eventually see as I turn around the corner would have held 12 uniforms that he would have worn every day. Had to change maybe up to 12 times a day, depending on what was happening. It's fascinating. It's a big queue at the minute, but we'll go in and film what I can. A lot of it's in behind glass, as you would expect. If you see that little corgi sitting over there, that wouldn't have been here. They have those hidden around the ships for children to count. Sofa, desk. It's good to see he's having an Ulster fry and a few drinks. This is his pantry. Obviously a fan of Weetabix. Oh, orange as well. And that is his changing area there. I think I'm right in saying that. No, I'm wrong. That is the First Lieutenant's spot. So you had the Admiral, and then the First Lieutenant was housed here. I do apologise. There's my ship. Right, the tour continues this way. Let's continue. Now, this next bit is fascinating because you can see two tracks there on the deck. And that's because a garage was deemed essential on the yacht to carry the Rolls Royce that the Queen would use on the visits, and look at that, a Series 1 Land Rover. Those pictures will show you how it was hoisted up, and there's those hoists. And the only way that they could get the Rolls Royce in here was actually to take the bumpers off it. Now, as time progressed, obviously the countries that they were visiting then had proper modes of transport. I'm going to sneeze. Had proper modes of transport, and so the garage was made redundant and became a store for beer. I love it. I love it. You'll also see those, I'm going to say, ship's tenders. Same as the orange ones over there, that the royal family would have went ashore in, and there was more powerful ones as well. And in actual fact, due to those tenders and little lifeboats, as I call them, being on board, they were able to rescue over 1,000 people from, was it Arden or Aden? Check that out. I know that. The funnel, there it is, again, and the mast behind it, okay, that marks the midpoint of the Royal Yacht. Anything forward is where the crew were. I think there was 220 seamen and the officers, all living in cramped conditions. And then behind that mast, we're into the royal quarters. Now, this is interesting. I love this. Okay. As I walk along here, you will see, and I'll demonstrate it better, like, I'll turn this camera around just to demonstrate. That's my height, and that's the windows on this deck. Now, the reason they're raised like that is because in there, well, that's the Queen and the Duke's bedrooms. And so an accidental glance to the right wouldn't let you see in. I love it. So here we are now on the veranda deck. A teak deck that the sailors had to clean every morning with seawater to keep it in pristine condition. And this is where there would have been the equivalent, I suppose, of garden parties. When dignitaries were on, certainly this is where they lined up to get their photographs taken. This is where at times the Duke of Edinburgh set up an easel and did some painting. There was also an inflatable swimming pool, believe it or not, that would have been set here on the deck so that the royals could enjoy a dip. And you can see, well, there's the ship's bell up there. And all the duties that the crew had to do, they had to have it finished by 8 o'clock in the morning. And also, and I find this interesting, they were allowed to walk about the ship without their caps on. Because if they took their caps off, then they were no longer classed as being in uniform, which meant that the royals didn't have to return the salute all the time. So if they had the cap on, of course, the crew would have to salute the royals, and they would have to acknowledge it. But if they had no cap on, well then, you know what? You're not in uniform, so we don't have to return the salute for you. Now, up above here, up there, that's the tea room. It was a relatively new addition, and that was used to host similar things to garden parties. I'll just take a wee walk up and let you see it. You can go in there and have tea. I'll not. Now, just before I go up to just look into that tea room, we're going in now to the room at the aft of the ship that the Queen loved to sit in. She loved to take breakfast here. She loved to take afternoon tea here because she could sit and look out through the vast windows at the scenery that was out the back of the ship. Now, the bamboo furniture that you see, oh yeah, this is lovely, isn't it? This bamboo furniture was bought in Hong Kong by Prince Philip in 1959. And I love these cupboards that would be closed, but they can open. There's a record player, games. I find this absolutely fascinating. I hope you're enjoying this. Now, we're going to head, I think I'm right in saying, to the royal bedrooms. This was the Queen's bedroom. That bed linen she had specially made from bed linen that belonged to Queen Victoria. I'll zoom out a bit actually to give you a better. And the silk headboard thing cost £450. And as I said before I got on, yeah, it's a single bed, and I think it was Charles and Diana were the first to bring on double beds. But there's the Queen's bedroom. There's an interconnecting door that leads us to the Duke of Edinburgh's. So this now is the Duke's bedroom. Slightly more masculine. And if they needed anything, there was a call button beside the bed, and a cabin steward would immediately arrive. But like me on my ship. So this is, as I said, the only double bed up in the royal quarters. This is just across from the Duke and the Queen. And Prince Charles insisted that this was put on for him and Diana during their honeymoon. In later years, it was, there was another one here, another room that you can't see, it was joined to them, that was used then as a nursery when the kids were on board. Any amount of drink. So, as promised, I'm just going to show you into the royal tea room. But if you want to have a tea on the Royal Yacht, well, you can do it. Now, back down, obviously there were more than those 4 bedrooms. That's all there were in the royal quarter. But down below that on a deck that I don't think we can get to, there was 14 other bedrooms that visiting members of the royal family and the tour continues, and dignitaries would have stayed in. And in fact, Bill Clinton and his wife, I think it was, I don't know what year it was, they stayed here. Next up is what is known as the Wardroom, and I'm familiar with them on the ships that I'm on. Basically, it's the officers' mess, the officers' bar. It's where they relax, it's where they unwind, it's where they do their own thing. And here it is. The only time it became formal, as it were, is if the officers were entertaining the King and Queen, or the Duke and Queen. That is a gold button from Admiral Nelson's uniform. So we're heading down to the galleys. Interesting enough, they're still working kitchens because they have banquets on board here that you can pay and come to. When the Queen and Duke were on board, their food was always prepared by chefs that were flown in and flown on board from Buckingham Palace. There's the delf, the cutlery, the silverware, the little chandeliers that would be set up on the tables. And what I find fascinating is that the floor here is blue. And on the cruise ships, down in the crew areas, the floors are painted blue as well. Okay, let's move in here. So as you can see, this is the banqueting suite on board. And through those doors, many dignitaries walked and had the privilege of having dinner with Queen Elizabeth II. People that sat around this table: Winston Churchill, Nelson Mandela, Boris Yeltsin, Ronald Reagan, the Clintons. And if only I could get past that little rope, I would say William Caulfield as well. At times, they could seat over 100 people in here, and a lot of attention was given to the detail. The knives and forks were measured with rulers to make sure they were in the exact spot. The menus that were printed long before the ship set sail were all in French. And if you were a guest, you could take that home with you as a souvenir. But it wasn't only a banqueting suite or a dining room. Those doors there, behind that lady, they could open up and this would turn into a cinema. And there's a projector in there. You could also roll up the carpet and have a dance floor. And it seems the last time that happened, that the carpet was up for a dance floor, was for, listen to this now, Princess Anne's 21st birthday party. Absolutely fascinating. Now, this was the Queen's office when she was on board, where she conducted her business and would meet with the press officers and the press secretaries. I do not know if my good friend Dickie Arbiter was ever in there. I must actually ask him and find out. And then across from the Queen's office is the Duke's, used by the Duke of Edinburgh and indeed Prince Charles. And up above the Duke's desk, if you can see there, is a model. I think it is, the ship was called the Magpie, which was the Duke's first ship that he was in command of. Now the dining room is up there, and this is the anteroom where the royals would have met and had a little drink or two before going in for dinner. Unfortunately, there's, well, I suppose, there's areas that are locked off that you can't see. Oh no, I can. I know that is, the bedrooms are up there. Sorry, that's where I was. So this is the grand drawing room. Those people that are standing in the way are obviously special guests that have been allowed past this rope. But this drawing room and the anteroom could hold up to 200 people waiting to go into the banquet. This piano, I think it was 1957 it was put in here. It was 350 quid and has been played by Noel Coward. And of course, Princess Margaret and Princess Diana both could play the piano and played that piano. Away right at the very front there, I'm going to zoom in between, there is the fireplace. Now, the Queen really wanted to have a proper coal fire, but as naval law required that there would have to be an officer standing beside it at all times, they went for the electric instead. Persian rug that the sofas and chairs are sitting on. Beautiful. Beautiful. Now, as on any ship, well, the captain and the officers and the crew have different packing orders. And this was for the petty officers and the Royal Marines sergeants' mess. Slightly different. Their bar. And if you want to look in there, sleeping quarters for 6. Originally those were hammocks, and then they were replaced with those very, very comfortable looking beds. But still, I'm sure it was a great gig to have. Where are you working? Royal Yacht Britannia. The Royal Marines had their own mess, and this is the barracks for the Royal Marines. There was always Scotland Yard detectives and Marines came with the Queen. And the Marines' job was also to dive daily round the ship, make sure that security was as it was meant to be. And of course, well, provide music. These guys also had to know how to play the national anthem of every country they visited. They rehearsed daily. Can you imagine daily rehearsals on a ship? They kept them as far away from the royals as possible when they were doing this. Fabulous. There's a little tuck shop if you want. Smells delightful. Here's another mess. because a lot of relaxation had to take place on the ships. And it's still the same on the cruise ships that I go on. You have the crew bars, and they have party nights, and they have all sorts of different things to keep morale of the crew high. Getting down to the... Where are we? Let's see. It's not the biggest room in the ship, but it was one of the most important rooms in the ship because all the mail came there, and that all had to be sorted and then handed out wherever was needed. Self-explanatory. There's the sick bay. Could hold 2 people, and that would fold down to another 2. And then across is the operating theatre, if it was needed. Now, you all know how I like a nice laundry on a ship. And this is the biggest laundry on any Royal Navy ship that are ever in the fleet. Over 200 officers on board, and they could have to change their uniforms up to 6 times a day. The Admiral, as I said earlier, 12 times a day. And of course, had to keep all the royal clothes in pristine condition. And where better than a huge laundry like this. Now there you go is the... Now there you go. If you... Oh no, this will be up before a video that makes sense. This one will be up before another video that I refer to. There you go and so. But anyway, that's the royal barge that they would have used to go ashore. It's lovely, lovely. Now this is similar to the Rolls Royce that would have been used. This is not a royal car actually. It's just there to give you an idea of what it looked like. Now, one last thing. I'm still getting that flare up there. Maybe it's because I dropped the phone and the phone cover. There's a crack in the phone cover and it's maybe coming away from the camera a little. That could be it. Okay, the last thing is the, I think it's the engine rooms. And there it is. And from the yacht was built until it's decommissioned in 1997, every gadget, every gauge, every single element of the engines worked perfectly. No faults whatsoever. I love down below deck. There's one more cabin to show you. I think it's the Chief Petty Officers. It's on display. Yeah. There you go. So what can I say? I have really, really enjoyed visiting the Royal Yacht Britannia, and I hope you have enjoyed by default coming with me as well. If you have liked this surprise video, because it surprised me, well, hit the like button, hit the subscribe, and don't forget, you can even hit the bell and get notifications when the next one's coming. So from me here in Leith at the Royal Yacht Britannia, Britannia to you wherever you are. Have a wonderful day. Till the next time.